Which actually you brought up several great. You brought up several great points that will get a little deeper into all of those. Last House on the Left, the original, a fantastic film. I'm silently boycotting the remake, which I refuse to go see. Wes Craven and Sean Cunningham did a just fantastic job with that film. Was discussing that with a customer of mine last night. She was about to buy the original, thinking that it was the remake.
Oh, yeah, she'd have been majorly disappointed.
Yes, well, I think that even today, if you can, and for some people, I guess maybe because I grew up through the 80s, if you can sit through the original, it's just an outright brutal film that is largely based in kind of a reality area.
Yeah. Well, it's a brutal film, but there's a lot of people can't get past the brutality to see the brilliance. That movie doesn't get the credit it should. Krug Stello is a very well-written character. The Weasel character, this whole mishmash of villains are some of the best villains I've ever seen. And when they kill the girl in the woods, you see this moment of humanity that we haven't seen at this point, where even they lost control. They've killed people before, but this time it wasn't under their circumstances, and you can see like this loss that they have. And people miss the subtleties in that movie because they can't get over the violence.
Well, I love the way that Wes played with these lighter moments without poking fun at the film, like the scene where they're all in the car headed out towards the character Mary, unintentionally towards Mary's house.
Right.
And that crazy music playing, and I can't remember the woman's name, but she's bouncing
Sadie.
on the guy's lap. Yeah, Sadie. She's bouncing on the guy's lap in the back seat. It's an extremely well balanced. The cinematography could have been a lot better, but considering it was Wes's first movie, we'll forgive that.
Right.
But all of it, it really is one of my favorite films, and it came during an exploitation era, and it's not an exploitation film.
Right. Yeah, it had a huge impact on me. I watched it 3 times the first night I got a hold of it.
Well, considering that you love that fractured soul kind of theme, several weeks ago I talked about the film I Spit on Your Grave. How do you feel about that one? Which, even though it is kind of an exploitation film, it still deals very much with the same subject matter.
It does. I think it doesn't affect me the way Last House on the Left did, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the 70s, the 80s, all those movies. I enjoy them on one level because it's where it all started. It's where it all spawned from those movies, really. I like that Spit on Your Grave.
I absolutely love that film. A lot of people have talked a lot of trash about it.
Well, there's a term that I learned growing up. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one, and they all stink. I'm kind of of the vein of belief. If you like it, like it. Fuck everybody else. If you don't like it, who cares what they think? So it's never really affected me that people didn't like these movies, because I like them.
That's awesome. Have you seen your awesome reviews on Netflix yet?
I have. Yeah, there are some incredible, there's some really nice people out there that have really accepted the film.
You don't have a rating below 4 stars on Netflix.
Not on the front page. If you go to the second page, there's some douchebag, which I hope he's listening to this, gave it 1 star and said that it's just a bad DV camera movie. That's all he said, and then everybody ranked that comment so low that it just disappeared. So, yeah, the support has just been incredible. I mean, for what the movie is, and I'd like to get it out to more people, but without $40 million to advertise, you've got the internet and people like you that support me. So It's doing good for what it is.
Well, and we talked briefly about that at Frightmare. That's one of the reasons I do this kind of thing, because God knows I have nothing else to do. No, I do have other things to do. I really enjoy. There was a long time. I try not to get too much into myself during interviews. There was a long time where I said, "Well, I don't watch indie horror," which is kind of a silly thing to say because Friday the 13th, Halloween, Night of the Living Dead.
Right. Well, there was also a rash of indie horror that was just gratuitous torture porn, and I watched a couple of them, and I don't enjoy it. There's no. First off, if you don't develop a relationship with the character, who gives a shit if you torture him? Kill him, shut him up already. That's kind of the way I look at it.
I am very much in the same thread of thought with you on that. I had a guy the other night. I work at Walmart. Was asking me if I had seen the newest Saw movie and what I thought of it, because he knows I'm into horror. And I told him, no, I don't watch those movies. And he said, how can you say you're a horror fan if you don't watch those movies? And I said, if you want to watch a really good movie where people get tortured, watch I Spit on Your Grave.
Yeah.
Watch Make Them Die Slowly.
Right, yeah.
Which, Make Them Die Slowly is an extremely brutal film. But within the context of the film, all of the torture that happens in the movie makes perfect sense.
Right. Well, that's like, I had a discussion with a guy there at Texas Frightmare Weekend, which I got to say, Texas has the greatest horror fans I've ever experienced in my life. I absolutely love Texas and the people there. And I'm in negotiations right now to shoot a couple movies there, so hopefully I'll be back soon. But I talked to a guy there that, I don't know if you've seen, I'm really, really big into what the French are doing with horror films. Inside, Frontiers, Calvaire, and this new one, Martyrs. It's a perfect example.
To see Martyrs.
Say it again?
I have yet to see Martyrs. I keep meaning to buy it, but some other movie that I've been intending to buy keeps coming out when I have the money to get it.
Right. Martyrs is a brilliant film. The story, the execution, and it could easily be thought of as a torture porn, except for the fact that in order to get the ending you want, you kind of have to have that element because of the goal of the film, what they're trying to do with the end of it. If you don't have that, I hate to say torture porn because it's really not, because there's a point to the torture. And it's a small point, but it's really, really brutal, for about 15 minutes.
That's what I've heard about, and I've talked to a few people who have said that, who understand my definition